We're back.
We're back.
How's it going?
Good. But the baby started crying.
The baby's crying because he saw the new Lorde song session. He really didn't like it.
I'm sorry for sending that over.
Yeah.
Because I know it ruined his whole day probably. And he probably had such high hopes for after seeing the album cover.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the album cover?
I actually love the album cover.
Too.
It reminds me of like 90s like Steve Madden.
Exactly.
Shoe ads or like Jane magazine. It's like that. It's a very Gen X aesthetic.
Fisheye.
Yeah.
Like music video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sublime kind of
Exactly.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very excited when I saw the album cover. And I actually am kind of a fan of Lorde.
Mm-hmm.
Or I liked Pure Heroin.
Uh-huh.
And then I didn't really listen to the last one.
There was another one.
Yeah, I like forgot. It kind of came and went, but the single was like Green Light.
Oh, okay.
That song that's like, or about like kissing on the dance floor. I'm not gonna say it. I was about to. I was like, just don't.
Yeah, I like her sandpaper dipped in honey voice. She's like both she's like perennially both 17 and 47 in my head.
Yeah,
she's like a teenager but looks very
she's extremely precocious.
Yeah.
And always has been.
Yeah.
And I feel like I vibed with her when she first came out because she was from New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
And I like a lot of
Auckland.
Yeah, I think New Zealand's like interesting.
Yeah.
And
it's like cool Australia.
Exactly. And a lot of interesting bands have come out of New Zealand. And there's like, because her music was so kind of melancholy, New Zealand has one of the highest like youth suicide rates in the world.
Makes sense.
Because it's so boring probably. Yeah. So I kind of felt like she was tapped into some cool like suicidal like teen impulse due to her background.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like that was coming across in the music.
Yeah, totally.
But this new song is horrible. It's awful.
Yeah, it's like so generic and bad and whatever.
It sounds like George Michael's Faith.
Does it? I don't even...
Yeah, kind of.
Sort of, but like for chicks, I don't know, or by chicks. I like
For
New
chicks,
Zealand.
by chicks.
Yeah.
Produced by Jack Antonoff.
Oh, of course, yeah. That guy has his hand
fingers
in, so
in
many,
every hole.
Yeah. Yeah, New Zealand is like dark, cool. Australia, because they don't have like Bondi Beach and like
Sydney. And, yeah.
They seem less optimistic and like outgoing for some reason. Like it seems like people in New Zealand are like more introspective and depressed, which I like.
Well, yeah, because I think it's more, for whatever reason, just boring.
Yeah.
And New Zealand or in Australia, like it's all these like coastal kind of like beachy cities where they're like it's like California.
Yeah, exactly.
Australia.
It's
we
like
have a good amount of listeners in Australia. Yeah. So we might go there someday. Oh, my movie's going to play at the Melbourne Film Festival.
Melbourne. Congratulations.
Thank you. I thought about going because I kind of like...
You're going to take that 43-hour flight?
I like
to Australia.
Business class.
Well, hey, yeah, if they put you in business class, then do it.
I'll take any flight business class. But I could see Amish and we should congratulate me also on my award.
Congratulations, Dasha. Very proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
I was very surprised when I found out that I won for those who don't know.
Yeah. I was also surprised, not because of the merit of your film, but because I assumed it would go automatically to some like woke movie. But that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get any bears during like when the official festival was. I didn't win like any accolades.
Right.
And what I won was like some foundation called the GWFF, which stands for like some long German thing. They have their own prize for best first feature.
Oh, okay.
And it comes with money and like a little viewfinder. So it's actually...
Congrats.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to say how much money?
How much loot?
Yeah.
I'm going to get 25,000 euros.
Sick. That's nice. What is that in USD?
Like 30.
Yeah. Nice. Congrats.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Super sick.
Lots of frilly tops.
God, I know. Balthazar.
Yeah.
Get the whole seafood platter. I'll probably try to save it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Because I do have scarcity mentality, especially around like large lump sums. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's a way that feels different from like other money.
Yeah. So
where you're like, I'll never have $30,000 again.
I know.
So I better like guard this. Like it's very Gollum-y.
No, I know. That's how when I moved to New York, it was for like grad school to go to NYU, and I had a stipend for my, because I was in a PhD program that I dropped out of because I'm like a flunky and a failed daughter. But they gave me, they cut me a check for $11,000 every semester, and I would just like clutch this check because it's like the most money I've ever had in my life, which is like not any money at all. And just like hyperventilate to the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
It just like, it was crazy. It's still crazy to me.
So I still have poverty mentality,
Yeah.
even though I'm no longer living in poverty.
I know. Well, it takes a while to like get that out of your system.
Definitely.
I was reading some like Publica article about how like billionaires don't pay any taxes, which we all know, but they like got their hands on some documents and were like explaining in great detail how like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk
just no taxes.
They just don't pay taxes
at all.
Like, I mean, they pay like sometimes like very nominal sums of money, but even the taxes that they pay nominally are like so much money to me. Like, it's like he'll earn like $60 billion a year and pay like 2.2 million in taxes.
Right. Well, I guess it does seem like a lot when it's all together like that.
Yeah. And I was thinking about how like even rich people, like the 1% are peasants compared to like the 0.01%.
Yeah. There's definitely a whole different class of like super rich. I mean, at that point you're satanic. You're a bloodsucker.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no reason you need that much money
at all.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't spend it over the course of your lifetime probably. And like, what do you want?
Yeah. And you're not going to give it to your kids.
What do you need so much money for?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's why they're all pedophiles. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why they're all like into like sterilizing Africa before that population boom hits. That's how they're spending their money on like weird dystopian projects in the name of like human progress or whatever.
Yeah. And then they're child molesters because that's like the final frontier of like what you can acquire with wealth,
Yeah.
Because it's like should be like uncorruptible, like precious. And it's like, they're like, no, we'll defile it. Like,
no, they should just kill two birds with one stone and do like, weird like genetic testing on the babies that they molest.
They probably do.
Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, congrats.
Thank you. The Scary of 61st.
Yeah.
It'll come out. I mean, I'm sure I announced this already.
Yeah.
It'll screen in New York like in the summer once, and then in LA in October, and then like some other festivals abroad, and then in December it'll have theatrical distribution.
Yeah. Wait, where's it screening?
LA and New York, and then maybe like a couple other cities.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. With this award, it's pretty prestigious.
I know. It's cool. It's great. You should be happy. You should feel proud.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I told you this, but my mom asked me to say Je vais à Belarus when I accept my award. Well,
have you decided, or have you slept on it?
I'm thinking about it.
They're not going to understand what you're saying anyway, so you
yeah, and there's a documentary at Berlin this year that's about like the Belarusian free theater that I haven't seen, but it seems like their kinds of the vibe is kind of, because Germany obviously, I'm sure they'd love to make Belarus a NATO client. But I still agree ultimately with the sentiment of, long live Belarus.
Yeah.
So I might just do it because my mom seemed very like, she's like, you're from Belarus. Like,
it's a neutral statement, right? It's just, long live Belarus.
Long live Belarus.
Right? It doesn't mean anything. It means express which side you're on.
It just expresses solidarity with like the Belarusian people.
Yeah.
Really.
I think it was cute that you got that Belarusian write-up.
I know.
That was really cool.
That's when my mom called and she was like, you got a Belarusian write-up, or you going to say Je vais Belarus? And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
I mean, make Lukashenko and his extremely hot son proud.
I mean, well, that's the thing too, is then he could torture me. Or what if I want to go to Belarus at some point and now I'm like an activist?
Yeah.
I don't really want that smoke.
Yeah.
But But I guess maybe it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
No.
You could always just play dumb, if they detain you.
Yeah, and be like
midair and just be like, I don't know what that means. I'm American. It's just, something my mom drilled into my head.
Yeah.
Я вообще вас не понимаю.
Что? Yeah. Anyway, that's something for me to
Отпустите меня.
Something for me to just, I'll deal with that on my own time.
I think that you should wing it.
Yeah.
And do it, just decide last minute.
I have a lot of people to thank.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't make the movie myself. It's a group effort.
Yeah.
So then it feels a little like an addendum. Maybe it doesn't feel as, if it was the only thing I said, maybe that would be powerful.
You're just up there I want to thank Hunter Zimny and Alex Huggins and Javi Belarus, my choreographer.
I'm very proud as a Belarusian American. That's a short Wikipedia list.
Yeah, it is. Who else is a Belarusian American?
A lot of people have distant, Marianne Williamson.
Jews. Yeah.
I think Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah.
And maybe ScarJo.
Okay.
Also.
Yeah, but that's just Еврейская бабушка shit.
They have, exactly. I think Marianne's grandparents are from Belarus. But
she still won't come on the pod, that bitch.
Have we tried?
No.
Maybe we should call her that bitch some more. See if that entices
Listen, you old
her.
bitch.
She was singing Barry Weiss. How do you say it?
Weiss, yeah.
Her praises on Twitter, and people were upset. But I didn't listen to the podcast, so I kind of reserved judgment. Even though I'm not a fan of Barry Weiss, I was like, well, we don't really know what she said.
Yeah. People were mad that she said, I like Barry Weiss. I think she's a nice girl. She's a nice person. I don't really care what her political views are. I can coexist with them.
Yeah.
But I don't
Zionism, you mean?
Yeah, I don't really care what
people get so whipped up on this anti-Zionist fervor.
Yeah.
They're really just projecting their own American guilt.
Yeah. It's always I don't know why, I understand, we don't have to talk about it again. I understand the people's sensitivity over the cause, but it's, a little baroque and bizarre when you're an American leftist with no dog in the fight to be so
to be
obsessed
with Palestine.
Yeah. When there's equally horrendous things going on in your backyard, but that's just me.
Especially if you're not even Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Jews I understand.
I get it. You feel culpable for this atrocity, and you have to litigate and talk about everything endlessly.
Yeah. They love to schmooze and kvetch. Lorde, I don't know if you have any other comments on Lorde's. The video. It's just very, it's for me, it was a pinnacle of woke aesthetics, where they kind of quirky colors, especially pastels, and ad-libbing.
Overwhelmingly white people in that video, though, not really a Benetton vibe at all.
I know.
Very,
that was
very
shocking.
white, which was shocking to see.
I don't know why she went for that, because I feel someone like Ziwe should just tear her a new one, because in 2021, what are you doing not stuffing your video full of token hires? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're asking for punishment.
Billie Eilish has a video that came out maybe recently, maybe a while ago, where she's hanging out with a bunch of people also.
Yeah.
And it's this genre. Miley Cyrus used to do it, genre video where a pop star hangs out with a focus group, just mood boarded group of people who are ostensibly their friends, but but the ones in Lorde's were so random. They weren't even, what was that casting process? I didn't understand.
I don't know. Maybe they are her real friends. I don't know. But they look
imagine pop stars have that many friends. Lorde probably has some friends maybe, but she definitely doesn't have a huge group of friends.
I feel we must have mutual friends with Lorde at this point. I feel it's kind of inevitable.
Maybe 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah, something like that. But no, these people again look like dime square people / people who work for MNZ. It's like that vibe.
That's the upper tier of Times Square people.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
The MNZ scene.
But I guess
like as good as it gets.
I mean, I have to it's truly like that's the
if we were to do like a hierarchy of like Times Square, they'd be like
those would be
girls at the top.
So if you want to send us some shoes,
I don't think she's so classy.
I know
she doesn't want to associate with them.
Yeah, she doesn't want to.
I respect it.
Sully her brand.
I respect it.
No, I do too.
Just like Andrea Longchu, I just respect people.
Yeah,
who just
I
don't
personally
fuck with us at all. I'm like, okay.
I really appreciate when people take a stand against us in a kind of honorable way where they just won't fuck with us instead of like being little cowards and talking shit on Twitter, but then like saying hi at a party. That I don't fuck with. Anyway, but yeah, it had like a very woke look minus the diversity.
Yeah.
Like, like woke aesthetics are all about like a deliberate like unprofessionalism or amateurship, but it's like kind of also like polished and classy. It's not like DIY Bushwick stuff.
Well, it relied the video very heavily on the camera trick of it like moving and her being in the continuous frame.
Yeah.
Which I didn't find cute. And
yeah, I didn't like it.
Looks like she's been going to the gym.
She looks great. I'll give her that.
She looks great. But she also, I don't know, I'd respect her more if she looked great and wasn't so like, I don't know, not flaunting it, I guess, but it's like the whole vibe just feels very like I'm going to the gym and now I'm like comfortable in my body, but she doesn't actually seem to be that comfortable in her body.
Because she's like kind of an intellectual and a misanthrope. That's
so I
her
don't
essential.
like seeing her kind of like gesticulate cutely.
But that's what happens to everyone. Like I think like Lorde, is like kind of like a gothy, surly Jewish girl who had the weird misfortune of being born in New Zealand, and she like to like a poet mother. I think her mom's some sort of like academic or something,
and she was a gifted child.
Yeah, and like perennially skinny fat, and now that she's a celeb, she's had a glow up and she wants to, I mean, it happens to everybody who experiences it.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it feels very
I get
unfaithful to her brand.
I know. And I have empathy for it because I bet obviously being like a teen star of any sort is challenging, and it's difficult to be like a well integrated, well balanced person.
I do like her better when she's like scribbling poetry in a notebook and wearing like gothy Simone Rocha gowns or whatever.
Like this. I mean, there's just also it's not consistent with like the album art, the song.
Yeah, if she had gone in that direction, like that 90s magazine Gen X direction, I think that would have been
slutty.
Better. Yeah.
More slutty, less like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, this is like vitamin C.
Empowered.
Yeah, and the song is about like the sunshine and having friends and going to the beach.
Yeah.
That's all wrong. Yeah. I think she's like trying to prove too hard that she has gotten over her depression and anxiety. Yeah,
we can tell she's still depressed. You can tell, you can see the pain in her eyes. She's not Pharrell. Like, no, when Pharrell sings about how he's so happy, I'm kind of like,
yeah, you're like, that's a guy without an internal monologue. He's not a neurotic. He's never had a bad day in his life.
He's just grooving. He wrote a nice little song.
Yeah.
It's going to make him $1 billion.
Yeah. Love that guy. He looks great too. I actually don't.
Aging in reverse.
Yeah.
No, he's... celebs look,
Blasian don't crack. Yeah.
That's for sure.
What else is on the dock?
Oh, yeah.
Hunter Biden saying the N-word. Yeah. Macron getting slapped. The fellas.
Virgil getting canceled.
For grooming, yeah.
A lot on the... That's like a docket.
Yeah. Men behaving badly.
When the Daily Mail article came out about Hunter Biden saying the N-word soft A in his text correspondences with his white lawyers, I sent it to you immediately and was like, finally, like something. Finally, the news cycle's like giving us something. Because those were a lot of fun to read.
The text messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who among us has not said the N-word to the lawyers that our father pays $875 an hour to represent us for.
God.
I mean, to be expected and also totally forgivable.
Yeah. Yeah. The Daily Mail article made note of how like these texts were leaked the day after his dad made a speech about like racial justice or something in the United States. But it's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I wish people would just like grow up.
Your fail son is going to say the N-word in his text correspondences. It's just how it's going to go.
It's like inevitable. People need to grow up about that word. It's not the hard R, the soft A thing is like, it's a term of endearment that white people use privately because they think black people are cool. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be racist or trying to expropriate something from black people, and anyone who thinks so is full of shit.
Yeah. And that's why they're not allowed to say it publicly, and there's just kind of like an understanding of decorum and like appropriateness around like,
yeah,
of course white people be saying it privately.
Yeah, and I don't think they should say it publicly. Just
of
it's
course
fine,
not.
Just,
exactly.
Mainly because it's totally cringe, not because it's racist.
Well, yeah, it's just like we're not allowed to say it, and we don't for the most part. And then, but the text correspondences of Hunter Biden. I mean, I'm sure he says it like out loud too. Definitely.
Yeah, to girls who, when he's like railing lines off of their like thighs or whatever.
Yeah, I did not overall find them, so shocking. But what I did find funny was that among the text correspondences was this meme that he had saved of, here, you take a look at it. So it's Joe Biden and Barack Obama hugging.
Yeah, and Obama saying, "Gonna miss you, man." And then Joe Biden saying, "Can I say it just this once?" And Obama going, "Sigh, go ahead." And Joe saying, you my boop, Barack.
Mm-hmm.
That's the meme.
That's the meme, and that's the meme that Hunter sent to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And the Daily Mail article said it's unclear why he saved it.
What?
Which is like, it's unclear why Hunter saved the meme on his computer. It's like, I think it's
totally
clear why he saved that meme.
Yeah, this is like when people feign confusion as to why like Substacks and Joe Rogan are winning. Mm-hmm. There's a clear-cut reason why people save racist memes on their phone. Everybody has racist memes on their phone. Everybody of every race.
Definitely.
Like, it's ridiculous. Racist jokes make the world go around. They're like a Benetton style unification campaign. They make everybody like each other more, not
Zizek
less.
Talks about this. Yeah.
And as I've said before, they add like a layer of sexual frisson to relationships.
It's just a tonal thing. It's like an affect. You can tell when something is in like good nature, and when something has like malice behind it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Hunter Biden calling his lawyers the N-word is definitely without malice.
And his lawyers are, how many lawyers does he have?
Probably so many.
They're all white.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a stupid question. I shouldn't even ask, but
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're all white. Towards the end of the article, they also talk about how attitudes have shifted around using the N-word, like even in quotes, because there was a smear campaign video of Joe Biden saying the N-word in like 1985, but it's like he was quoting some other lawmaker or something, but they took it out of context. And here, I'll just read it. In October 2020, a first-year student at Rutgers Law School in Newark used the word while quoting from a 1993 legal opinion in class, warning her fellow students beforehand that the quote contained the slur. The student had said, and I'll use a racial word, but it's a quote. He says, "I'm going to go to Trenton and come back with my boop." A race row erupted last month when her fellow students circulated a petition demanding she and the professor apologize.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's really like Soviet times, except instead of getting shot in like a a prison cell in the basement of like Lubyanka, you
get a really annoying email.
Yeah, you get and you like possibly lose your job and get socially ostracized. But I read a really good essay where this guy was talking about how, I think may have talked about it in the previous episode, about how this guy was talking about how you can't kind of politicize art and how horrible that is. And he talks about like how in the Soviet Union, when they were killing artists en masse, like rounding them up, sending them to the gulag, they didn't really want to do that. It was just the only mode of repression that was available to them. And now you can kind of, you know, run like a lean gulag, like I said, and have people like panopticon style, like control themselves and surveil others. Like you don't have to stoop to violence anymore, because you have more kind of social softer,
control,
and efficient means at your hands.
Yeah,
and I never thought of it that way.
Just won't make work that threatens the regime.
Yeah, and you get to keep your hands clean.
Exactly. But that's very interesting.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's like a great insight that I hadn't even thought of. But
you can break free from the panopticon. That's the thing, is it's not as ultimately authoritarian, because brute force really is like the be all end all, I think.
Yeah, no, you don't die, but you can certainly, again, like lose your friends and lose your job, which is, you know, you die some sort of death, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
But I mean, this kind of like war on saying, like quoting rap lyrics or like legal opinions is just so insulting to people's intelligence.
I know.
And it's like,
we can say the N-word if, you know, they
on this
want
podcast,
us to.
like right now.
No, not like, I mean,
let's go.
We can say the N-word and we're going to. No, I mean the N-word as in the phrase the N-word. Like if they'd rather, when I'm reading all these legal opinions, if I just use the N-word and like the phrase instead. But what is that really accomplishing?
I know. It's like you still have the association in your head.
Exactly. You know, Louis C.K. has a bit about this. Yeah, you just like, we know what the word is.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to, you know, beat around the bush and live in this fake and gay unreality.
I know.
It is crazy when you look at like, when you watch like old TV shows or movies or like listen to Howard Stern, they really drop that word a lot, and with the hard R, and you're just like that word always sounds really bad.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah. No, well, affect, once again, it's just awful.
Yeah.
It's just a really heinous word.
Yeah.
It's like not funny and not ever like, you know.
Yeah. And
it's shocking. And sometimes the shock value of it can be funny, but very rarely. Yeah.
But also, incidentally, I feel like this latest incident with Hunter has not really affected his reputation that much, because it's already so in the gutter that he's really also uncancelable.
Yeah, well, that much is clear. I think he's just going to be kind of like a staple of news cycles that will illustrate in some way ultimately like the vacuousness of the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And it'll sort of like underscore how retarded everything is.
Yeah.
And we'll have to read about it, and he'll just be kind of this like fixture
in the background that's like a source of shame for the Biden family, but also weirdly manufactures consent for them.
Exactly, because it makes them seem more human. And he should have said the N-word in his memoir, honestly. It would have made it a better read.
He should have snuck it into one of his father's speeches. You know, Joe has said the N-word hard R many a time.
Of course.
Who's he friends with? Like Strom Thurmond, like his like
Definitely.
Segregationist pals.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
that's why they have to do so much damage control. If their conscience was clean, they wouldn't have to like.
He's donned the white hood.
Mm-hmm.
Macron.
Oh, I was going to pivot to the race card thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it seems more. Macron got slapped, but I didn't really read about what happened. I just read that headline that the guy who slapped him had like Mein Kampf in his backpack.
Yeah. And I was so brain dead that I read it as him having Mein Kampf on his person.
It was an ambiguous
like,
headline, yeah.
I was like, he's really trying to compete with Marine Le Pen. Let's go. Yeah, so he got slapped because he ran toward a crowd. I think he just should have slapped the guy back. That's my only take on Macron. It would have been cool.
That's a Frenchman's fight there.
French people seem like they like slap each other around a lot. And then there was somebody wrote an analysis on BBC, some guy called Hugh Schoenfeld, about how Macron getting slapped is proof of French society in decline. And I was like, there's plenty of other, like the fact that they like don't replenish their population and their like economy is stagnant. There are other signs.
I mean, I felt that way when I read that Men in Dresses article.
Yeah, that we'll
get to later.
Well, yeah.
But I was like, oh, it seems like a sign of decadence and decline. Yeah. But not Macron getting slapped. That seems like a sign of like vitality and like a fun culture. That's what we like to see.
Very French, je ne sais quoi.
Exactly.
They all have like, what's that French expression that means like punchable face?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
There's a really good one. I don't remember what it is, but it literally means punchable face. And it's like every French person has like a punchable face.
I know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's hot.
Yeah. Like when I went to Paris, I've never seen so many hot people, men and women alike, on the street. And like I live in New York where there's like beautiful women on the street, less so beautiful men, but like
New York really has some gorgeous
people.
Women.
Yeah, but in Paris was the only place I went to where I was like actively attracted to the men on the street because they had like big complex Louis Garrel faces. They weren't like, cute skater guys or whatever.
So hot.
And I was just like, and they wear like, like camel coats, but not in a gay way.
They kind of dress not my fave.
It's not
I've only really been to Paris, but well,
it's not my fave either, but I will say like the thing that attracts me to it is that it's adult. It's not childish. Like they're not walking around in like Jinkos,
Yeah. But it is a little medium vibe.
It is. Yeah. It's totally, it's like early aughts Express, but higher quality.
Yeah. Or like Armani Exchange.
Yeah.
Vibes.
But I like the rich ones who have like a cashmere scarf thrown over their shoulder.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, they do. Their taste level is just higher in France.
It's better, yeah.
It's undeniable. It's like, it makes them annoying, but it's part of their strength, too.
Yeah, I've really grown to love the French.
I didn't have a good time there, but I respect them. And
wait, why didn't you have a good time?
In Paris?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of bored.
I see, yeah. It is very boring unless you like know somebody who could take you to like the hot spots. You kind of have to make your own way among snotty people.
I think I had that thing that like Japanese people get when they go to France where they get depressed because it doesn't like match up to their like the cultural shock of it not being like what they kind of think it's going to be like. Because I felt very like empty or something.
Yeah.
I feel like I should feel more like in Paris.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, I think like Japanese people go to Paris and they think it's going to be like Amelie and like Brigitte Bardot, and it's just like a bunch of unemployed Moroccan guys catcalling the woman. Just like, and like an internet cafe that sells like saran wrapped croissants and not like a beautiful bakery.
Exactly.
Anyway, the race card.
Yeah. National Geographic.
Yeah.
Has some projects.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up this thread because it's really great.
I'm scrolling as well.
It's a 10-year project that some like woman artist did, black woman artist presumably, that like photographs. I don't know how they like, it seems a little suspect that it was a 10-year project and then they like just kind of like released it right in the midst of this like post BLM CRT woke moment. But she takes photos of people and asks them to describe themselves, their attitude toward race in 6 words.
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, it doesn't make it seem like, because I think the strength of doing a project like this, which is super dumb, over the span of such a long time would kind of be an interesting way to illustrate like changes in racial ideology or something. But instead it's like they're not chronological in any way. They're kind of just random. And the project was, she asked people to describe their feelings on race in just 6 words. She thought few would respond. Here are some of the responses out of 500,000 so far that she's received. And the drawback to doing something like this, obviously, is that it forces people to make these short kind of like, they don't feel like haiku, they don't feel poetic or like haikus or something. They just feel like
they're just awkward,
arbitrary and awkward. Yeah.
When I'm with kids, dad, alone, thug, exclamation point, like that kind of thing. It's funny that like she thought she wouldn't get any replies because everybody's such a Janice Soprano today. They're just like jumping at the chance.
About race.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you want to hear 6 words? Did someone want to hear my thoughts on race? I am not an exotic creature. Some ethnically ambiguous girl who's not that hot.
Yeah, that's the elaborate way of saying you're not that hot. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it says Hannah Peoples said the constant guessing game about her identity, as well as the harassment and unwanted attention she's received from, quote, creepy men, makes her feel like a specimen. Her 6-word story was born of exasperation. It's like, really?
What is she talking?
Really?
By the way, like,
creepy men are exoticizing you all the time.
I mean, they are, but it's like harmless. Like, I'm whatever, a Russian white person, and I get exoticized all the time. You know that men are horny for you, and you're like, when they're like, Anna, you know, like men always exoticize you as a woman. All women. You don't have to be that attractive. You don't have to be that special. Men are horny. Like, get over yourself. You should be so lucky. Anyway, yeah, there was, my favorite one was like the couple, the blonde haired wife and the Iranian guy with the beard, and the wife is like, after 9/11 my white husband became Iranian, and the husband's was like, I don't look Iranian, well I am. And it's just like, you guys are such weird sex fetishists. First of all, he's out here looking like Soyatola Khomeini with his like beard that he grew. This man has like a fake beard that he grew just for the express purpose of being detained at airports, like because he wants to be like racially profiled.
You're right.
That's why. And they also have they clearly have some sort of like sexual like fetish play thing going on where she gets off. Like, you know how there's like those women that get off on the thought of their boyfriend donning a face mask, like a ski mask, and breaking into their apartment and raping them? That's this, but for Islamic terrorism. She's like getting off on him being like a jihadi or like mujahideen, forcing her into like white Sharia. I guarantee you that's what it is.
I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what really the vibe is. You don't know. They could be trapped in like a
loveless marriage.
A loveless marriage of convenience where the only thing holding them together is his oppressed status as a Iranian man in a post 9/11 climate.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like Iranian people are like a border case. They're both white and not white. They're literally on the border delineating.
I mean, if Armenians are white,
yeah,
then
I remember I got into a fight with a Turkish girl on Twitter because she called me a white girl, and I was like, bitch, if I'm white, you're white too, and if I'm not white, you're not white too. We're like the same genetic pool.
Bill Maher was saying the other night that Sephardic Jews aren't white.
I mean, yeah, they're a fringe case because they're basically whatever Arabs are. Yeah,
but it's like if Armenians are white, then definitely Sephardic Jews are too.
Yeah, but Sephardic Jews are like what, like Syrian Jews, Egyptian Jews, like they're Middle Eastern Jews. So it's like sketchy. It's like literally a fringy kind of thing. And like, certain Arabs are white, like Levantine Arabs, Syrians, Lebanese, Jordanians are technically white, right?
It's an arbitrary.
Yeah, category. It's like all of this stuff is like so like retarded.
The only thing we can be sure of is that Russians aren't white.
Yeah, they're the blacks of Eastern Europe. Just kidding. Those are like the Nigerians that go to study engineering in Moscow. Yeah, but this is like this kind of project. The thing is, like, I feel like it's also like intentionally woke trolling people. Like, there's no way that they didn't know that this would piss people off.
I mean, this woman.
Yeah, this like gender goblin.
She says her 6 words are, I'm ashamed for my ancestors' race.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lovell Heydrich was born in Arkansas, and her ancestors ran a small plantation in Georgia, and
just like
owned
2 or 3 slaves.
And owned slaves. When I try and bring things up or try and criticize the South, you know, it's never gone over great with my family.
Oh.
She's the worst one of all because she's like victimizing herself within the context of her like her own heritage.
Yeah, I know. It's like horrible.
I try to tell people how the South is wrong.
It's
and
like
my family hates me because I'm always going on about my racial justice campaign and how ashamed I feel. I mean,
yeah, she should be ashamed of that presentation. I won't say more. But that's deliberately designed to infuriate people because you're like, what? This like overweight genderqueer person is ashamed of her.
White.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
I mean, it really does suck that her like ancestors owned slaves, but like,
yeah, but
what's that got to do with you?
Shame is not like a productive psychological state to live in.
No, it's not narcissistic and indulgent.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm so lucky I don't have anything in my history to get to be ashamed about.
I mean, same.
My family was only ever like on the wrong side.
Serfs. Yeah.
So,
seriously.
I don't have to worry about them like owning plantations or like killing people.
Yeah. Arguably some of the worst off people in history.
Or who?
Like Eastern Europe. Like
yeah, true, yeah.
Those people have been really fucked over.
Yeah, like literal serfs, Khachiyan.
World War I, World War II, just eviscerated, like, you know, just really rough spot. So we're lucky, but
yeah. Now
we get to podcast with impunity.
Yeah, and
because we've never oppressed anyone.
Yeah, and Edge saying the N-word. Like this is a 3-year-long performance piece that'll end when one of us accidentally. Anyway, yeah. But it's an interest, like this kind of like carousel or whatever art project is very interesting because it's like a total sign of the times. It's you know, it's like everybody's in on the joke. Like everybody knows that we live in like a fake and gay unreality. Yeah. And the point isn't even to convince or to persuade or to convert anyone.
Yeah.
Or even
it's just to reaffirm like hegemony basically.
Yeah, but that's why it's also like so Soviet, because everybody gets that it's fake. The only difference that it dawned on me, because, you know, I was like reading about like hypernormalization and Stjob and all this stuff that I'm interested in, that was written a lot about by this anthropologist, Alexei Yurchak, who Adam Curtis took the title for hypernormalization from. And he talks about how in the Soviet Union and late Soviet Union, there was this like consensual like fantasy agreement between the powers and the masses that they would agree, like join hands and like agree to live in this like fake simulated society that was supposed to look more functional than it was. Right. And it dawns on me that in the United States, the hypernormalization takes the form of trying to convince people that they live in a society that's more dysfunctional. Like we're supposed to believe that we have rape culture and patriarchy and racism and all this stuff, well, to such a degree that it's untenable, and I don't buy that.
Well, that to me maybe even is like a distraction from the real ways in which society is like dysfunctional, which like, I mean, cancel culture is a perfect example, right? Because it's like the venues that like were closed for COVID anyway being like, well, we're not letting Ariel Pink play here anymore or whatever. It's like, or Weinstein kind of going down just as like the studio system is like changing. And like, I think COVID and cancel culture and all this stuff has really underscored really how like bad things actually are and how flimsy the infrastructure is. But instead we like cancel culture is this facade that makes it seem like things are like things are going so well that we can like be canceling people, but actually none of these things have been like profitable for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. They're like dying, obsolescing industries.
Exactly. So everything thus in the art world as well, it's kind of like, it's easy to feel like things are disposable.
Yeah. And it's like really exposed kind of the threadbare, precarious nature of both economic and social relations in this country. And it really has nothing to do with like gender or race, even though it appears that way superficially. Like the core problems are problems that affect everybody.
Yeah.
And they affect poorer people more and middle class people in a sort of medium way. And then the rich, not that much, you know.
To not at all. Yeah.
So I think like that, but that was like, you know, it like hit me, that insight that in America, the kind of simulation it codes for a society that's more dysfunctional, whereas in the Soviet Union it coded for a society that was more functional.
That's interesting.
And I have to like figure out now why that is, but that's what these kind of like NatGeo projects I think exist to reaffirm.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're getting mad at them, you're on the wrong track.
Yeah, you've really already lost.
Yeah, like you've lost the plot in some way. Anyway.
No, that's a good point.
Speaking of which, I guess we can talk about the men in dresses.
Oh, there's so much today. I was going to talk about Virgil.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Because
I'm sure people are dying to hear our take.
I mean, this is really, we deliberated whether or not we would talk about this, but this really is our lane, like grooming discourse.
Yeah, that's true.
We're really the authority on like what appropriate age gap discrepancies are and ages of consent and stuff like that. That's why people always ask us stuff like that on our love lines. So a new Twitter account popped up a couple of days ago with the name Jennifer Seberg.
Sounds fake.
Sounds fake. And I've read somewhere was like a reference to someone who like killed themselves because of online bullying. All of this, there's lots of interesting kind of mysterious details. But basically, Jennifer Seberg outed Virgil Texas, formerly of Chapo Trap House, as her groomer. And it's a long thread, but it starts, and it's very boring. It starts, when I was a teenager, I thought Virgil Texas was very funny. I asked him to proofread an essay I submitted to a website and emailed it to him. The essay was about turning 16. We talked a little bit, and I thought he was very cool because he was funny and he lived in New York. Very interesting obfuscating happening here.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, the essay was about turning 16.
Right.
Clearly she was 18, otherwise she would have said she was 16.
Right.
And she's trying to link, maybe even 19, she's trying to link her state of teenagehood to an essay she wrote about turning 16.
Right. She's creating a psychic link in people's minds, like kind of like AOC did when she collapsed her insurrection trauma with her sexual assault trauma.
Exactly.
To make it impossible to contest her like political demands, right?
Yep.
That's a smart
not gonna work this time
insight.
She goes on to talk about how they had like this relationship basically over FaceTime before she went to college, or maybe summer after her freshman year or something. Right. So she was also in her childhood bedroom when they were having these interactions. And then I guess I don't know. It seems like he lost interest in her, and she maybe sent him a photo of her tits.
Yeah. So, and she also writes that they texted late at night when she was alone in her childhood bedroom, which is another kind of like very manipulative, suggestive detail, because you're supposed to see her as a 16-year-old in her childhood bedroom. Yeah.
It's worth also noting that Virgil was like 23
at the time. I'm guessing he's
this
like,
was not like recently.
Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing he's in his mid 30s.
No clue.
Yeah. No clue. Asian don't crack. Anyway,
ambiguously aged Virgil.
So I think
was even younger at the point of these interactions.
Yeah, and I think like the future of MeToo, or whatever, the remnants of the MeToo movement, the hipster runoff, is going to be like people making even vaguer and vaguer insinuations. Like there's nothing. So what happened? He got tired of her and
he stopped talking to her
because he probably found like an IRL girlfriend,
because she was probably being a drag.
Yeah. So this feels a little sus to me, but I guess we can't know.
It seems plausible, I guess, that it happened.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter if it did or not.
Yeah,
the whole thing is like shrouded in this accusatory language that people are responding to, but really nothing transgressive
occurred,
took place.
And I'm just curious why all the kind of fracas, furor, whatever, over Virgil Texas.
Well, because people hate him.
No, I know, and I'm not even saying this as like an insult or a dig.
And people love to finally get one over on Chapo or whatever because they're jealous and stuff.
Yeah, but
lots of like libs back in like 2016 Twitter, I feel like, when libs and leftists were really beefing.
Yeah.
Out there. Of course, now we know that they're completely the same.
Well, remember in 2015 when a liberal became a pejorative? Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember that. And now it's kind of coming back around where like leftist is the pejorative and liberal is kind of almost neutral. It's still negative, but it's kind of veering toward neutrality.
Bill Maher was praising some like politician on his show for being a classic liberal the other day. I watched like 20 minutes of Bill Maher. That's why I keep bringing it up.
How was it?
Annoying.
I find him to be
boring.
Annoying.
I mean, I'd love to come on. I think we would do great.
Yeah, he'd love us. We're not.
We would have a lot of fun. But no, he gets all kinds of. He likes to get like different kinds of people on his show.
I know, but he loves the black ladies. That's his thing.
Right. Well, he would still think we're nice girls.
He would still think we're black because we're salty.
We would have a good time. But he is smarmy and he's not doing himself any favors with that attitude.
No, yeah. He's annoying and like
sorry,
kind of a dweeb. But I think like initially when he started out, he was brave and I will give him credit for that.
He does one show a week.
That's cool.
That's
good
cool.
for him.
Yeah.
He also, I have to say,
that's a sustainable workload right there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, oh, you do one show? Well, we do too. I have to say the other thing that I will say nice about Bill Maher is that he has a very good voice.
I thought you were going to say huge dick.
Well, he has a huge dick, or so I've heard. Yeah.
Everyone has heard about his huge hog.
That's why he hasn't been canceled.
You think he has a smooth voice?
He has a good voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like very masculine. Sure. It's not gay or braying
definitely
or brackish or whatever. It's
Yeah. No. Big dick, nice voice.
Yeah. He's no Tucker Carlson, but Tucker Carlson actually has a really annoying voice.
I know.
He's like an eager neocon in debate club.
He definitely doesn't have a big
No, definitely not.
Whatever.
Maybe it's like wide, but definitely not long.
The bow tie.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
He could use a rebrand.
He could, yeah. He should go back to wearing like barbour jackets.
Yeah.
He should take a page from...
Conservative men should take note of the preppy style that Steve Bannon really does.
Yeah, that put them on the map. But I mean, Virgil's such a virgin. I doubt, if this actually went down, that he even asked to see her titties. She probably sent them unsolicited, which is like your first mistake,
Yeah.
And this happens before Virgil was a Chapo, correct? If
long
allegedly,
before.
Okay.
This was like, I don't know, unclear. It's like she references like Sam Hyde later. It's all like people have been trying to get Virgil in trouble for a long time because he like, I don't know, isn't.
But why? I mean, he actually,
because he was like a aspiring stand-up comedian
who's like, definitely said the N-word,
dealt with some unsavory Sam Hyde adjacent characters or something. Who cares?
I mean, like, I'm not really, I'll go on the record. I've never really been a fan of Virgil. I think that he's like tedious and bloviating.
I mean, hard agree.
And like,
never really been that nice to me. Pretty weird.
Yeah, and I think he tries too hard to come off as like smart and whatever. And
the blazers and stuff. It's not for me.
The kind of like off-brand Julian Casablancas branding.
He needs to grow up a little bit. He needs to clean up his act.
But And this is why I hate Me Too, because it makes me and makes everybody effectively defend these guys who are uncharismatic and unlikable. It's like the Cuomo thing. Did he do anything wrong? I don't know. I don't think so.
Not this time.
Who knows? Maybe there's like a grab bag of like.
He has ill will towards him because I think a lot of people find him distasteful, and in that way he's done something wrong. But
yeah, and I'm sure people find him distasteful and then or angry and jealous that he makes so much money because they want his job. I'm sure that's how people feel about one or both of us too. Yeah. I get it. It's all very understandable. But I think like I really hate living in this world of like paranoia and recrimination where your only recourse is to like launch digital allegations against somebody.
I mean, I feel that I like remember reading the responses and stuff. I remembered kind of that visceral feeling of people piling on us online.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that sucks. It's so bad. Sucks. Even if you like aren't invested in Twitter and are like basically ignoring it, it still like weighs on you like ambiently whenever like people are like really piling on you and taking an opportunity to.
Yeah, and my thing is like I don't care how much of a tedious or bloviating or annoying person you are, if you haven't done anything wrong, and I'm like a very much a innocent until proven guilty person. Then like you don't deserve it. But I'm less concerned with that. What I'm more like concerned with is as these allegations become more and more vague and insinuating and not like.
Well, he's not going to lose his job or anything.
No, I mean, what's his job? Podcasting with Brianna Joy Gray. He's not going to lose his job.
They're not going to take him down.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like lately all of these Me Too allegations, like Gray and Medium, have really failed to stick. Because there was an initial kind of like critical mass when everybody was like falling, you know,
and now it feels like very disparate kind of like fanatical voices, more so, but those are easier to tune out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like I can't for the life of me put myself in the shoes of people who would launch a campaign like this against somebody, even if they are like unlikable or enviable or whatever. No, just like, what does it say about you that you're so fixated on somebody else?
Yeah.
This is, by the way,
it's a dark, quality of mind.
Yeah, this is granting that he did nothing wrong. But even if there was some kind of, I mean, just based on her allegations.
If he had done something wrong, she would have said what he did wrong.
Yeah, and there's nothing,
She like, apparently he was dating Marie Calloway at the time. And then she DM'd Mary Calloway to tell her what happened, and Marie Calloway said, "What do you want me to do?"
I thought that was a pretty cool answer.
Expertly said, like, what do you want her to do?
Yeah, not my problem. Yeah,
he didn't do anything. Surely everyone must realize that, and people are just like opportunistically like dunking on him or whatever.
I don't know. I think some people probably don't realize that, and they think that like there is some kind of
it's so
like,
long no one can read the whole thing.
They're like it must be. I mean, he has no choice now to get ahead of these allegations. He has to become trans. He has to become like Virginia or Justine or something.
Yeah,
and then he can start a new podcast.
So mean, but I'm not going to.
What? Ah, damn it. Yeah, I'll edit that part out. But he can start.
I don't think you could hear it.
He can start a new podcast called Chapo Trans House.
Yeah, people will love that.
He's always reminded me of like Stevie Janowski as Cherry Blossom from Eastbound and Down.
I've said that before. That's very funny.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to dog on. I'm not going to use this hour.
He doesn't need more critique right now. He's going through a hard time with his pedophilic allegations, but which he probably does have pedophilic desires. I don't know, but that's.
I mean, all leftist men do. Let's like the vast majority of them.
Yeah, let's just
because they're adult infants, but that's beside the point.
Let's just assume if you're in the DSA,
you're
groomed before.
Yeah, totally.
It's also like Garage Rock guys. It's like,
it's people who are at a perennially infantile stage of their emotional development, which is why they're into politics in the first place.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw a really funny tweet that was like Virgil was grooming girls to become Democrats.
That's really good.
Whoever did
that's
that.
Funny.
You have my
I mean, I hope he doesn't
approval.
stop doing his podcast I've never listened to. That would be so cowardly.
I don't think he will. He has no reason to. The money's right.
Yeah. But they,
Seems like
you know, he always seemed kind of like the wokest one in Chapo.
Yeah.
Like when they apologized for doing like the Bill Cosby thumbs up picture.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know. He just always seemed kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess he is the wokest one in Chapo, but
they got so successful that they had to basically start wokely policing themselves.
I know. Well, that's what happens.
That's why we were plateauing so nicely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what happens once you come into money. I don't know if I should ever admit this, but I read a good piece by Moldbug, Curtis Yarvin on Substack about kind of the failure of right-wing pundits. And it's a really long piece that gets into a lot of like minutia and basically says that, you know, you can't urge people to vote for policies. You have to urge people to vote for a person, which is a strong man, you know, that kind of thing. But the beginning of the essay is actually really good because he describes that the problem with being any sort of pundit, including a podcaster, is that once you get into any sort of situation where you start making money and it becomes your livelihood, you start auto-censoring yourself, which is a damn shame, and you lose a lot of the fire that you originally had when you were like poor and angry.
Right.
And you start lying to your audience because you have no choice. It's a totally organic process. It's nobody's fault. But yeah, I understand that, like, as you know, your brand or whatever, LLC, whatever becomes bigger. But I think like also you let this be a lesson that like when you bill yourself as woke consciously, you're going to be the first one to fall. Because the wokes will turn on you first.
Of course, because they stand for nothing.
Yeah, and
ultimately,
and they can smell weakness, and they will punish it, you know, twofold. I mean, there's that great story about, it's like an anecdote about Stalin, that he used to punish people that would grovel for forgiveness way worse than those who would take, you know, their punishment straight.
That's very Stalin, yeah. That's so him.
it's very like also like Caucasian man.
Yeah.
But that's how people react to weakness. When you show weakness, they punish it more than they punish, you know, strength or resilience.
That's true.
So that's all.
Stay vigilant out there, folks.
Stay Virgilant.
And make sure you never scorn any teen that you start corresponding with.
Yeah. I mean, how many of these male podcasters have corresponded with teens?
100%.
Like all of them.
Of course. I mean, we correspond with teens on occasion.
Not
like I would never FaceTime a teen, but like, you know, I go on the Discord sometimes and stuff. I'm like, you know, I try to be nice to our young fans.
Yeah, to our youth audience and not steer them wrong. What was that thing that the girl says that he told her that she had a nice chest for her age? That also sounded fake.
I mean, yeah. Eventually, Justin lost interest in me, not after telling me I had a nice chest, not the word he used, quote, for my age, and made fun of people with autoimmune diseases, and we stopped communicating. I went to college a year or so after. During college, I started to realize this wasn't normal and that it had a negative impact on my emotional health. I asked Marie for help, and she said, "What do you want me to do?" And that's basically, those are the allegations. She said he also made fun of her for vaping. And someone told her recently that he now indeed vapes.
This is just like kind of like a grab bag of keywords: vaping, autoimmune, chest.
What autoimmune disease do you think he made fun of?
I don't know. Lyme's, fibro. What are the big ones? Morgue.
Yeah. Is shit, I don't know. Probably Lyme's. That makes sense.
He has no place making fun of autoimmune disorders as a person who looks like he has one. Just saying.
Celiac disease or something. That was probably... Crohn's. He probably made fun of someone with like a gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
And it's taken her years to like
get over,
extrapolate and do the levels of like woke chessery to like craft her perfect statement that's going to make it seem like he really did something wrong.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. Well, that sucks. I hope he can keep his
lucrative
paycheck,
podcasting job.
I wish him the best. Unless he's actually a pedophile,
in which case we
condemn his actions.
Condemn him, and we never liked him, and that's on the record.
Yeah.
I always had a weird feeling about that guy. Guys wearing dresses.
Oh yeah.
Another woke baiting.
Take the trans pill, Virgil.
Piece from the from the failing New York Times.
What's this new title? MX instead of Mr. or Miss. Mix? How do you say that?
Mix, I guess. Yeah, that's if you're a they, them.
Yeah.
The boys in their summer dresses. Gender fluidity enters its next phase as men increasingly step out in skirts and frocks. And it's sort
Gotta
of
let those
have you noticed men wearing dresses?
No, I mean, I live in Dime Square, so all the men dress incredibly gay, even the straight ones.
Yeah.
But
even here, I feel like
I haven't
picked up on this trend.
I saw one guy who's like my local barista in a dress once, and it was like fine. It was kind of a romper or something.
I saw a guy wearing a skirt at Bloomingdale's, but it was more like a kilt, and he was gay, obviously, and it looked good. But beyond that, like the instances that Lil Nas X wore also a kilt on some talk show.
Literal celebrities and pop stars will always do weird shit.
Kid Cudi wore this off-white like sundress. Yeah. And I think it looked terrible.
It looks horrible, yeah.
It does not.
It just doesn't work.
It's not flattering.
It's weird when these like new young guys try to do like David Bowie.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles is the worst because he seems like an insecure and mean person, and he's wearing all these like quirky things and carrying a handbag, and straight women are supposed to find this attractive. A man carrying a handbag like an Olsen twin, in the crook of their elbow, that's like so unbearable. Like even gay guys don't do that.
Being like a fragile queen.
Yeah. And he can't pull it off. He doesn't have the personal charisma.
No. Well, another instance, A$AP Rocky also wearing a kilt.
He looks hot.
He looks hot. He's also wearing like, they've styled him in a very masculine way. Yeah. So I don't think this counts. Neither really does Lil Nas X. I feel like cool black guys wearing kilts is not the same as like gender fluid people wearing dresses that they look horrible in.
I know, yeah. Black guys can, like hot, cool, charismatic black guys can literally wear whatever they want. Like Dennis Rodman.
Exactly.
Like he's the most stylish guy
in this.
Yeah,
in this
but
article.
He was like the original kind of gender bender and like of the 90s, and then like Kurt Cobain, I guess, did it. It was cooler the first time around.
Kurt did it because Kurt, as like a Pisces, was very tapped into, like there's the thing that bothers me about men wearing dresses is that it's so like unconsidered.
Yeah.
It's like they don't, in this article, they really kind of like, there's just all these like random quotes from men being like, women can wear whatever they want, and I am expressing yourself like for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And there's very little like follow through or thought into like what they're trying to achieve by wearing a dress. Because when women put on dresses, they have things that they are trying to achieve. They're trying to like accentuate parts of their bodies or like
provide easy access.
Yeah, exactly. Like fashion isn't just like random.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't think they know what they're trying to achieve. I think they're like motivated by this like vague sense of rebellion.
Right.
Where like, I think where this is all going is like kind of all purpose, low quality muumuus sewn by sterilized Uyghur female prisoners and like sold on Essence. Like, I don't think that we're in the middle of a gender revolution. I think we're in the middle of an obesity epidemic, and that's where, and also like a decline in quality of labor.
Yeah.
So all clothes now is just like really shoddily and cheaply thrown together.
I know.
Like even like I was thinking like even like expensive clothing, like the kind you get from like Farfetch or Essence, is basically just mall clothing of the 90s. Like it's that quality.
That tier, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I know.
It's not like exceptional quality unless you're buying maybe like Chanel or Balmain or anything, or something like that, but I don't know because I don't really.
Balmain is really well made, but it's so at that point then the price point is like in the tens of thousands of dollars, and like what are you really paying for?
Yeah, who would buy that? But yeah, that's what it feels like. I think that what we're calling like a gender revolution or whatever is misdiagnosed, and it's like two things. It's like I think people are getting fatter on average, and I think people want to be infantilized.
Yeah.
Like there's this idea that men, even straight men now, as somebody else put it, want to kind of inhabit the weakness as strength that women have.
Well, that's because women have so much cultural power.
Right.
Because they've feminized the culture to such a degree that its values are now effeminate.
Yeah, and being a man, especially a white man, is like truly kind of like obsolescing and irrelevant or whatever. But I actually think it's worse than that. I think that what they really want is to be contained like a baby. Like they want to be infantilized, and they want to be parented. It's not about being a woman, it's about being a child. Like it's almost like
parented in what way?
Like, I think they just want somebody else to take control and restrain them. So all these acts of rebellion and provocation are really that. Like, it's not really a gender or a sex thing. It seems to transcend gender identification, sexual orientation, that sort of thing.
I'm hearing you. There's like a Freudian, like, look at me, dad. What if I wear a dress? And they want their dad to strike them down and say, like, no, son, you're not wearing a dress, but there's no paternal superstructure there. There's no paternal super ego. Yeah. But the state's not going to do that because the state sanctions all this like stuff, charade that we have to all participate in for some reason.
Yeah, like the gender charade. And it's like it's a giant cry for help, I think. It's like literally like contain me, restrain me. You know, like this is like, I'm being ironic and sarcastic, but I had this idea of writing a Jordan Peterson style 12 Rules for Life book from the perspective of like what adults can learn from babies now that I have a kid. Like, what is my kid like? Like, what calms him when I swaddle him in a blanket very tightly? That's what puts him to sleep, because all organisms, all human creatures want to
they just
not be so responsible, you know.
You don't watch Shark Tank, but they're on a recent episode, one of the pitches was like a adult swaddle, like a thing that you can step into and swaddle yourself in, and now it's like, I don't know, a multi-million-dollar business because people want to be swaddled.
Well, and people like those weighted anxiety blankets, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
And like weird like fursuits, like all of this, like it really is not
baby stuff, big time.
Yeah, it's really not a gender thing. This also like hit me like a brick or a wall of bricks because I'm like so delirious and brain dead right now. So like my brain is less rigid and more associative. Just like chain smoking and drinking frozen margaritas while my baby cries in the distance.
Writing your screed about the truth about gender.
Yeah, but I mean, it really like I think is that on some level, because I think also men as a group have no purpose now.
I mean, I'm a big like early childhood development person. Like, I really believe that it is an incredibly important part of like the human experience that like for some people traumatizes them so much that they like can't function. And then everyone else is like traumatized in minor ways that just kind of give them personalities.
Yeah.
But is what it is. Yeah. It's like something happened in early childhood where to a troubling amount of people, where now we have the situation where adults want to be like swaddled like babies.
Yeah, by wearing like whatever slip dresses and kilts.
Because no one like told them about dignity or something.
Yeah, and it's like, like when
they weren't. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They weren't like initiated into the symbolic order properly, and now we're having like a breakdown of like how things function.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, that this is struck you as like the sign of like a decadent society in decline. And, Paglia has that bit that any kind of like weird gender play is the sign of a decadent society. And I don't think it's decadent because of its sexual or gender expression, though those things may be pathological, maybe not, depending on the particular situation. Again, it's decadent because it's abdicating responsibility for oneself, and it's entering into this like childlike mode.
Yeah.
And that's just like freaky. And also I know that like people can call me a hypocrite for this, but it really bothered me that one guy who was pictured standing on his bed in combat boots. I was like, dude, what are you doing wearing your like curb stompers
with like some stupid moo
like on your canopy bed?
God. Here's a quote from a non-binary person. MX Sinclair says, for the longest time people were so stuck on being one way or the other, referring to waning gender dress codes. Queer people have been playing with this for a long time, but now you see a lot of guys in dresses that don't identify as all that feminine. Again, total weird breakdown about what of the symbolic order.
Yeah.
Of like, why would you wear a feminine gown? I guess ostensibly like to highlight their like masculinity.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But it's just such a meaningless gesture, I feel.
But that's like, like when David Bowie did it, and I'm actually not a particularly big fan of David Bowie. I think he was like kind of fake and gay. Like Mick Jagger had that great line about how like you would hang out with him and he'd ask you where your shoes were from and then show up next week wearing your same shoes.
Well,
but he was a very charismatic, singular individual. And when he did the cross-dressing thing, it was very clear that while he was like beautifully androgynous, he was also very powerfully masculine. He was very Dennis Rodman too. He's like so high tea.
It's right, and that's the difference kind of between, because what Bowie did was like androgynous and truly weird.
Yeah,
and this is so just like these instances that they point to of men like wearing dresses that I'm not even convinced even exists.
Yeah, it exists for the purposes of this article,
or like the 3 people that they interviewed for this
like sinister homosexual who wrote the article just rounded up some of his House of Yes friends and
were
was
excited to talk about how they can wear whatever they want or something. I lost my train of thought.
No, sorry.
Whatever.
I thrifted this Vivienne Westwood kilt from Beacon's closet. Can't stop me.
My point was, it's not truly subversive. It's not androgynous. It's not ambiguous. It's like they're going to like Dress Barn and putting on like a muumuu because I think you're right, because they want their like dad to punish them. Yeah, but daddy's not coming.
Yeah, he's not there. He's a war veteran.
He's dead.
A Korea war vet.
Daddy's strung homeless. Out on opiates. Daddy's Chinese and he can't help you anymore.
But it's really sad because these kids like also they literally have nothing to rebel against.
Right.
Because there was no like order ever orchestrated, which is like why they're like rebelling against everything at once,
against themselves.
And like the future is going to be like like everybody like eating soft foods, wearing muumuus, having like an all-purpose poop shoot,
renting everything. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The Great Reset.
Oh yeah. What was that ad? Was that for the Great Reset?
That was for the Great Reset that we like never really followed up on, and it could be taking place now.
I think it is.
We could be in the midst of it.
Well, there's some Davos style political kind of summit happening right now. Joe Biden tweeted about it. I was like, diplomacy is back. Let me find it. I'm actually going to go on Joe Biden's Twitter, which I've never done.
I'll never follow him.
No. President Biden.
POTUS.
Macron and I stand together, ready to take on the toughest challenges.
The slappers.
He should slap. He looks like he's about to slap Macron, actually.
That would be really funny. I would respect Joe Biden
if he slapped him. Yeah,
just
I would
a little
take back.
tap, just like a little condescending tap. You know, not a full
like what would happen?
Follow through.
Oh, this is it. It's G7 summit.
Oh yeah,
it's another one of those like Davos style bloodsucker summits.
Satanic. They're standing in like a satanic formation.
Yeah, I think they're social distancing, but
well.
And I like that Boris Johnson is in the middle because he's actually by far my favorite one of these global policy makers.
For sure.
At least he has like a sense of humor. Anyway, God, Trudeau is such a cuck. He seems like a groomer too, by the way.
Yeah, he'll get out at any day now.
Yeah.
Groomer just means like loser who talked to teens instead of women their age because they couldn't like tolerate them.
Yeah. Because they're like emotionally on the level. Yeah. Anyway, what else? Do we have anything else?
No.
On the docket?
We've done like an hour 20. That's all.
That's not bad. Oh yeah, I read that study too. I sent you a study about how like globally 1 in 5 young people now identify as non-cis.
Non-cis
or like queer,
or queer.
As queer,
because queer just kind of means whatever.
Yeah.
I don't means they don't want to be heteronormative because there's like negative associations with it.
Yeah.
And so it's probably more like 1 in 10 are truly queer.
Yeah, which is probably kind of standard throughout history and time.
I mean, yeah, that's just very ambiguous terminology.
Yeah, but there's something, I think people are trying to kind of like drum up more fanfare for this like so-called gender revolution. And again, you have to like look under its skirt or whatever.
They're quote not straight.
Yeah, okay. Which means half of them are bisexual, which doesn't count.
Conducted in 27 countries also found that 4% of those in Gen Z identify as transgender and non-binary. 4% trans, but 1 in 5 not straight.
Yeah.
Which seems like this survey seems flawed.
It does,
to me,
yeah.
because
it's methodologically flawed.
Are you straight? Feels like a loaded question.
Yeah.
That I feel like a lot of people who probably mostly are would say no to, just because.
Yeah.
There's also tremendous pressure amongst Gen Z to be like progressive around stuff like this.
Yeah, they're going to start denying they're white pretty soon, the white ones. It'll be great. They're going to be like
1 in 5 white people are not white.
I mean, yeah, we're going to have like the era of like transracialism, transclassism.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
When we can just manifest our wealth.
Yeah. I feel like young people in general are probably just more sexually experimental.
Definitely. You're more
saddled with debt.
I'll check in with Gen Z in like 20 years and see where they're at.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in 20 minutes when you go on the Discord.
What did you guys think? Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, like a skateboard, like a Supreme skateboard slung over your shoulder. How do you access a Discord? It's like an app?
You have to get invited and it's an app, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But don't worry about it.
Don't invite me, please.
Don't.
Everyone.
Sometimes they speculate that you might be on there, and I'm like, it is definitely not on here. I'm
That's
like,
not reverse psychology.
I can barely use
it.
I just like go and look sometimes.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, they're pretty sweet. It's not like the Reddit even is fine now. It's like expanded beyond the confines of the podcast. I feel like it's like its own thing that we're not culpable for.
Yeah. Cool.
Well,
I no longer have to feel guilty for dog whistling to racists and misogynists.
See you in hell.
See you in hell.